Hello students and welcome back. Today we are going to discuss the concepts of decision control statements or decision control structure. As in previous lecture we have already discussed the concept related to the data types, variables and operators. Okay, so here we'll discuss the decision control statements. So we know that in real life there are some situation occur where we have to do the process when we satisfy some conditions, like we will do these things when these things will happen, we'll do this when these things will happen. So such situation occurs in real life. So similar situation occur in C. So in case of programming, many times we want to execute a set of instruction in one situation and entire different set of instruction in another situation. That is, we have to execute one set of instruction in one situation and remaining set or remaining program in another situation. So such a situation is dealt in C program with the help of decision control instruction or decision control statements. So what are the decision control statements are there? So in C, if statement, if else statement and control operators are used for these decision control statements. Okay, as we have already studied these conditional operators in previous lecture, that is ternary operator. Okay, a ternary operator is nothing but this conditional operator. So we are not going to discuss the same again over here. So just here we are going to discuss if statement, if else statement, nested if else and if else ladder. So we'll start one by one. So if statement. So in if statement we use the if keyword to implement the decision control statement. So here if is a keyword which is used for this decision control instruction or in this decision control instruction. So as I said in previous part also, so in C we have to follow some syntax. So for this if statement also we have to follow one syntax. What is that syntax? So here on the left side I have written that syntax. If in round bracket we have to mention the condition and in curly bracket we have to write the statements which are to be executed when this condition is true. Remember, when this condition is true, then and then only this statement will get executed. So let's see how this if statement will execute. Here on the right side I have given the flow chart that will explain the execution of this if statement. So when your control will come to the if statement, it will check the condition. Okay, again condition has two sides, either your condition is true or it is false. Let's suppose if your condition is true. So when your condition is true, then it will execute the statements. Just look at the flow of the chart. So when your condition is true, your control will come to the statements. It will execute the statements which comes under the if block and then it will execute the rest part. Okay, so this is about when your condition is true. Now if what happens if your condition is false? Then if your condition is false, then if you look over here, it will directly execute the rest of the code. It will not execute the statements which comes under the if. So it means that the statements will execute when your condition is true, else it will not execute the statements. Hope you understand the flowchart of the if. Okay, so let's see one simple example. Okay, in the PPT itself I have explained one code. So as we have already discussed about this main function and all these things, here it is simple. We have to check whether inputted number is less than 10 or not. Okay, if it is less than 10, we have to simply print you have entered number which is less than 10. That's it. So here I will explain the program. I have written one function void main. So this is a void. Our main function returns nothing. So I have written the void over here. Then in opening closing curly bracket, this is the opening curly bracket of main and this is a closing curly bracket of main. So in that opening closing curly bracket, we have to write the program. So int main, this is called as declaration of variable. Num is a variable of type integer. Okay. Then next print, which is used to display one message. That is what we have displayed. Printf, enter a number less than 10. So it will display a message, enter number less than 10. So next statement I have written scanf. What is scanf? So scanf is nothing but it is a function, it is an inbuilt function which is used to take input from user. So here we have to enter one number and that is taken by scanf. So to take the input from user, we have to use the function scanf. So here is a syntax. So we have to write the format character first, as we are taking one number, integer number from user. So to take integer number from user, we have to use %d as a format character. If we are taking character from user, then we have to use %c as a format character. If float point value we are going to take from user, then we have to use %f as a format character. Then we have to give the comma, and after that we have to use the ampersand sign, and we have to write the name of the variable to which we have to assign the value. So here whatever value we are going to take from user, we have to assign that to the num. So I have taken and num, ampersand num. This is a standard syntax we have to follow. Okay, so the ampersand gives the address of that num where we have to store the value. So that value will get stored to the address of num. Okay. So this is a simple syntax. Then here comes the if statement. Okay, let's suppose here at the bottom I have given the output. Just for example, consider we have taken one number as a 5. So value of num is 5. So 5 we have taken from user. Then when control comes over here in the if statement, it will check the condition. If what is the value of num? We have taken 5 from user. If 5 is less than equals to 10, whether this condition is true or false, 5 is less than equals to 10. Yes, 5 is less than 10. So our condition is true. So here if we check, if condition is true, it will come inside the if block and it will execute the statements. So if here our condition is true, so control will come inside this if statement. It will execute this printf statement. What it will print? Thank you for entering number less than 10. So you will get the output, thank you for entering number less than 10, as this condition is true. Now suppose if our condition is false, suppose I have entered value 15, then it will check the condition. 15 is less than equal to 10. It is neither less nor equal to 10. So it is greater than 10. So this condition is false. So when condition is false, it will not execute the statements which comes under the if block. It will directly skip that block and it will jump to the next statement, or it will jump to the rest of the code. So if we look over here, as our condition is false, as I entered number is equals to 15, condition is false, it will not enter into the if block. It will directly jump to the rest of the code. That is, it will jump after this curly bracket. Here it will come in between these two. But here we have not written any code, so it will stop executing the code. So when condition is false, it will not print anything. But if condition is true, it will print thank you for entering number less than 10. So this is simple if. Hope you understand this program. And this is about the if statement. So this is a first left side I have given the syntax, on the right side I have given the flowchart for the if statement. So this is about the if statement. So if we look over here, if I entered number less than 10, it will print thank you for entering number less than 10. But what happens if I entered number more than 10? As I said, it will not print anything. but I have to print something. Then in that case, we have to use the if else statement. If condition is false, then if we have to do this something, or if when condition is false, we have to execute something, then we have to use this else statement. Okay, so here I have written the if statement by itself will execute a single statement or a group of statement when the expression following if evaluates to true. So if will get executed when the condition is true. It does nothing when expression evaluates to false, and it does nothing when condition is false. Okay, so it executes the statement when condition is true, and it will do nothing when condition is false. So to execute statements, if expression evaluates to false, we use the else statement. So when condition is so to execute some group of statement when our condition is false, then in that case we use else statement. Just remember that we can use if without else. Okay, as previously we have done that. I have used I have used this if statement without else, but remember, you cannot use else statement without if. We can write if without else, but we cannot write else without if statement. Okay, so let's see syntax. So the syntax is same. So if again in round bracket we have to write the condition. If condition is true, then it will execute the statement under this if block, and if this condition is false, it will directly jump to the else part. Okay, and it will execute that statement. So what is syntax? If in round bracket we have to write the condition, and after that in opening closing curly bracket we have to write the statement which are to be executed when condition is true. Then after that I have written the else. Remember, else is again a keyword. In front of that I have not mentioned any condition. Okay, so if condition written in if is false, then automatically control comes to else part, and it will execute the statements which are written under the else. Okay, so this is syntax. Let's see the flow chart, so you will understand this syntax. So it will come first, it will execute, it will check the condition. Okay, again as I said, condition is either true or false. If your condition is true, then it will execute the if code. So the curly bracket which comes under the if is a part of if. So these are the statements which are written under the curly bracket will get executed when condition is true, and when the condition is false, it will execute the else part, that is the statements written under the else. Okay, so just remember, when condition is true, if block will get executed, and when condition is false, else block will get executed. So let's see one simple example. So here I have written one code. Again I have written code. So just in previously I have not mentioned the header files, but here I have mentioned that header files hash include stdio.h, that is standard input output.h. In part 1 I have explained this, why we include all these header files. So I am not going to in detail with that. So let's start with the program. So let's consider this program. Here I have written the int main. So if you look in previous example, I have written void main. So as this main function returns nothing, I have written void. But in this case, to understand, I have written this. So in this case, my main function returns 0, and 0 is an integer value. So I have to write the return type of this main function as integer. If our function returns nothing, then we write void. Here I am returning 0, so I have written int main. Next, I have declared one variable number, then printf to print something on screen. Here I have printed enter an integer, and using scanf I have taken that value and I have assigned to that number variable. Okay, so whatever I will enter, that will get assigned to this number. So scanf is used to take number from user. So just for example, I will enter one number 4. So enter an integer, I will enter 4. So in the bottom I have taken two outputs. Just consider first output, which is highlighted by red color. So enter an integer, here I have entered 4. So number is, in this case, in first case our number is 4. So it will go to the condition, it will check number. So value of number is 4. So 4 mod 2. What mod does? Mod gives the remainder. So 4 mod 2 will get remainder 0. Okay, 4 is divisible by 2, so we'll get remainder 0. So 0 equals to 0. Yes, 0 is equals to 0. So our condition is true. So when condition is true, our control will come inside the if block. It will printf %d. So for this %d, this number, value of this number will get assigned. So in this number I have stored 4, that is I have entered 4. So 4 will get assigned to this %d, and it will print 4 is an even integer. So we'll get this output. So for this %d, this value will get assigned. Okay, so as our condition is true, it will not enter into the else part, it will directly jump to the return. It will skip the else part as our condition is true. Okay, this is the first case where I have entered number is equals to 4. Now suppose I have entered number is equals to 5. What happens? Okay, what will happen? So number is equals to 5. So num, here in if statement, num mod 2, num is equals to 5. 5 mod 2, what will get? Will get 5 mod 2 remainder 1. Is 1 equals to 0? No, 1 is not equals to 0. So the condition written in if will get false. As this condition is false, what happens? If when condition is false, else code will get executed. So our control will directly jump to the else part, and it will execute the print statement written in this written in this else. What it will execute? It will execute printf %d is an odd integer, and for this %d, the value stored in this number will get assigned. So I have stored 5 in this number. So 5 is odd. 5 is an odd integer, will get as a output. So here is the output. So from this we get that this is a code to find the inputted number is even or odd. So just remember, when condition is true, if block will get executed, and when condition is false, else block will get executed. So this is about the if else statement. Next, if else ladder. So we know that if else statement execute two different codes depending on the condition is true or false. Okay, so if condition is true, if block will get executed. If condition is false, else block will get executed. Okay, but sometime we have to execute code, or choice has to be made for more than two possibilities. So more than two conditions we have to more conditions we have to check. Then in that case we have to use this if else ladder. Okay, so when we have to make choice more than two possibilities, then in that case we have to use this else if ladder. So the execution of else if ladder is exactly similar to if else. Okay, so let's see one simple example. Okay, so here I have written the if, then in bracket condition 1, then statement which comes under the if, then I have written the else if. Else, again in else I have written the if, that is else if. Then again, as we have used if, we have to write the condition if condition 2, then statement comes under this else if. Then again for this if we have to write the else. Again else if, it is a else if else ladder, we have to write this in this way only. Then else if condition for this if, and so on. We can write n number of else if ladders, and at the end just we have to write the else and the statement which comes under this else. So just I will explain this, how, just remember this syntax, I will explain this. Okay, so here if suppose this condition, our controller will, our compiler will check this condition first. Condition 1 it will check first. So when this condition 1 is true, it will execute the statements which comes under the if block. If our condition 1 is false, it will skip these statements and it will jump to the else part. Again in else we have written the if statement, so it will check the condition 2. Again same, if condition 2 is true, it will execute the statements which comes under this if, which are written in curly bracket only. Okay, so it will execute these else statements. Okay, if again this condition 2 is false, it will jump to the else part. If condition 2 is true, it will execute the statements. If condition 2 is false, it will jump to the else part. Again in else I have written if, so again it will check the condition 3. If the condition 3 is true, it will execute the statements. If condition 3 is false, again it will jump to the else part, and the ladder will go on continuing. And at the end we have just written the else. When all the if conditions will not get satisfied, okay, not all, but depending on the conditions, this else if ladder will get executed, right? This will simple example, so you will understand this. Here we have to take two numbers from user, and we have to check that number is less than, whether just we have to compare that two numbers, whether first number is less than second, or first number is greater than second, or both numbers are equal. So here we have to check the multiple conditions. So for that we have to use this else if ladder. Okay, so I am not going to explain this void main and again. So here I have declared two numbers, integer number 1 and number 2. Then printf enter two integer, and using scanf I have entered two numbers. Whatever number will enter first will get assigned to number 1, and whatever number will enter second will get assigned to number 2. Okay, so after that, just for example consider I have entered number 1 as 12 and number 2 as 23. In the bottom I have written that enter two numbers, first number is 12 and second number is 23. So number 1 is 12, number 2 is 23. So it will come to the if, it will check the condition. Number 1 is equal to number 2, is 12 is equals to 23? No, 12 is not equals to 23. So this condition is false, so it will come to the else part. In else, again I have written the if, as it is if else ladder. So again if we have to check the condition. Okay, what condition we have written? Number 1 is greater than number 2. That is 12 is greater than 23. Is 12 greater than 23? No, 12 is not greater than 23. So again this condition written in else if is false, so it will not execute this if part, it will skip this if, it will jump to the else. Because this condition is false, it will go to the else part. And as else will not have any condition, it will directly execute the else part. It will directly enter into the else part, and it will print the statement result. What it will print? Result colon %d is less than %d comma number 1 number 2. So it will print result equal to, this result equal to, it will print as it is. For this %d, for this first %d, it will assign the value stored in this number 1. Then it will print less than sign, and it will print the value stored in the number 2. So this, for this %d, this number 1 will get assigned, this number 1 will get assigned to this %d, and this number 2 will get assigned to this second %d. So output will get result colon 12 less than 23. Okay, so similarly we can check check for different numbers also. Okay, what if I entered both numbers same? if I enter number 1 is 10 and if I enter number 2 is also 10, so it will check the first condition, 10 is equals to 10, yes 10 is equals to 10, so it will print result 10 equal to 10. So as condition if is true, it will not execute the else part. So it will not execute the else part, it will directly jump to the return statement and it will terminate the program, it will stop the program. Okay, so this is about the else if ladder. So in this else if ladder, execution is similar to if else, but we write multiple if else in a same program. Again, we can also write, or we can also include if else inside the if else, or we can write if inside the if, or we can write if inside the if else also. So if we write if else inside the if else, then it is called as nested if else. Okay, so just see one simple example. Again, same program same program I have written with the help of nested if else. Okay, so just go through this. Okay, so we'll take the same example. I will take number 1 as a 12, number 2 as a 23. Okay, so it will come to the first if, it will check number 1 is greater than equal to number 2. As I have taken number 1 as 12 and number 2 as a 23. So 12 is greater than equals to 23? No. It is not. So it will jump to the else part. As condition is in if is false, it will jump to the else part. It will directly execute the else part and it will print result 12 is less than 23. Okay, so here it will not check the multiple conditions, but in previous case if we check it will check all the conditions. It had checked all the conditions, but in this case it won't. So this is about nested if else. We can write if else inside the if else. So what happens if I take number 1 as a 10 and number 2 is also as a 10? Okay. So let's see what it will how it will execute. So here number 1 is equals to number 1 is greater than equals to number 2 is a condition written in if. So if number 1 is greater than number 2, value of number 1 is 10 and number 2 is also 10. It will check the condition. Number 1 is greater than equals to number 2, that is 10 is greater than equal to 10. It is not greater, but it is equal to. So condition is true. Our control will come inside the if. It will check the condition written inside the if again. If number 1 is equal to number 2, 10 is equal to number 2, that is number 2 is also 10. So 10 is equal to 10. Yes, 10 is equals to 10. So our control will come inside the if, which is okay again written in if. So here it will execute this statement, print result 10 is equal to 10. So the value of number 1 will get assigned to this %d and value stored in number 2 will get assigned to this %d. So it will print result 10 is equals to 10. Okay, so similarly we can execute the same code for different numbers also. Okay, hope you understand this. Okay, so this is about the nested if else and its example. Okay, so just remember one thing, that if the body of an if else statement has only one statement, okay, if the if else statement or if else statement has only one statement under this, then there is no need to write the brackets. Okay, this is valid for one statement only. If multiple statements are there, then compulsory we have to use the curly braces. Okay, so for example, here we have code. If a is greater than b, then I have written opening curly bracket, and in that opening and closing curly bracket I have written the printf hello, and after that I have written the hi, printf hi. But if you look over here, under this if statement, under this if condition, only one statement is there. So if only one statement is there, there is no need to write the opening closing curly bracket. We can write in this fashion, okay, written in the bottom. If a is greater than b, just write printf, no need to write the curly bracket. Just remember, this is valid only one statement is there, then only. Okay, so this is about the control statements. Okay, thank you. In the next lecture we will discuss the loop system. Okay, thank you.